Today, I have a challenge so absurd and stupid that I was feeling pretty fatigued by the end of it. Now, if you've played Dead Rising or its remaster, you probably already know just how much running you're doing in this game. You're always running around the mall, rescuing survivors, and fighting psychopaths. At the end of the game, you've probably took thousands of steps. But, what if we weren't allowed to do that? What if we banned walking in Dead Rising? How would a no-walk challenge even work? Don't worry, I'll get to that, but before we start, let's go over some rules. Now, what do we define as walking? Well, in my opinion, walking is simply movement Frank makes on foot through the use of the left stick. If we move the left stick and see Frank take steps, well, that's what I consider walking. Now that that's out of the way, let's get to the rules. For rule 1, we can't walk with the left stick. If we move through the use of the left stick, we have to reload to a previous save. The only exceptions for this rule are vehicles and the skateboard, as Frank is technically not taking a step when using either of these things, and the left stick is for steering instead of moving forward. Now I know what you're probably thinking. You're thinking that these will make the challenge too easy, and you're absolutely right, which is why I will ban the use of skateboards and vehicles unless they're absolutely necessary. I will also ban things like shopping carts and parasols, as Frank runs when using them. For rule 2, I'm going to be playing on a level 48 save file, as it gives me access to important skills. You'll understand what I mean in a second. This isn't a rule, but I won't be saving survivors, as I will need as much time as possible to get through each case in the game. Now that the rules are out of the way, let's get right into it. Once we get on the rooftop, the first thing we have to do is figure out how the movement is going to work. The reason I chose to start a new game on a high level save file is specifically because I wanted to have the dodge roll right at the start. Unlike the original, the new control scheme in the remaster makes the dodge roll as simple as a button press. Something that is worth pointing out though is that the dodge is kind of messed up, as the direction of the roll is locked no matter what direction you make Frank face. But to get around this, I found a simple solution, which is to make a stationary jump, and while in the air, I move the stick in the direction I want to roll. By moving the stick in the air, Frank doesn't take a step of any kind, and I can change the direction of my roll, which allows me to have some form of movement. The only thing that sucks about the roll is that it has a recharge time, so I have to wait a little bit before I can try to use it again. Now that we have the movement figured out, we can get on with this challenge. With just rolling, I managed to get to the entrance plaza. When we get to the entrance plaza, we head to the back to gather stuff to barricade the door, but not before hearing an interesting conversation.
Raise my blood pressure.
What do you mean every time? You don't even come home most nights, let alone take me shopping.
So, I work for a living.
Work? Ha! Is that what you call that hanky-panky with that big-titted secretary now?
Oh, please. What the hell is that?
Shut up! Oh my god, I don't care!
We grab the stuff we need and proceed to watch everyone get obliterated by zombies.
What in the hell are you people doing? Run!
Now this is where shit gets pretty serious. Since we have to wait for the dodge roll to recharge, I kept getting grabbed over and over by zombies.
10% pain, 20% pain, 15% concentrated power of pain.
I managed to somehow grab the shotgun that one of the dead survivors dropped, which was really annoying, before slowly rolling up the stairs like an asshole. I get back to the safe room where we meet Brad and Jesse. With no time to waste, we quickly roll to the vent and head onto the rooftop. Since I couldn't waste any time, I left Jeff and Natalie on the roof and headed into the warehouse. After almost beating Jesse to death with a fire extinguisher, she lets us know that Brad's in trouble.
You know how to use this?
Kinda. I've covered wars, you know.
She gives us a gun, and now we need to help Brad in the food court. Now, before I can help Brad fight Carlito, I'm gonna need to get some healing items. First, I roll up to Colombian Roastmasters and mix some OJ to get some nectars, which will heal us quite a bit. Now, all that's left is to simply get to the food court. Getting through Leisure Park takes about a minute of just running, but since we need to roll, it takes about 5 minutes of just raw rolling movement. Maybe this just gives you a better idea of just how slow this method of movement is. Eventually, I make it to the food court, and now we need to fight Carlito. This was actually pretty easy. Just shoot him from the starting position until he runs away, and then roll up the stairs and finish him off. He isn't all that dangerous, as he can't really shoot me all that much, and when he throws grenades, you can just roll out of the way. With enough shots of the handgun, I'm able to finish him off. We convinced Brad to let us in on the scoop using Frank's amazing persuasion skills, and now it's time to meet Dr. Barnaby in the entrance plaza. After rolling through al fresco, we get to the entrance plaza and watch Brad make a fool of himself.
Sir, if you could just kindly come with us, we can wrap this whole thing up.
No, I'm not leaving until you can
Absolutely,
guarantee
sir.
me safe
If you
passage.
just open this
Please.
gate. Just open this gate. It's
I
for
am
your
not opening
protection.
any gate. Thank you very much. I'm going to take care of you.
After Brad leaves, we now have to roll all the way back to Paradise Plaza, and once we get there, we meet Kent.
Hey, you! You're in my way!
Anyway, we head back to the safe room and wait until case 2-2 where we need to save the professor. This was way easier than I thought. I simply shot Carlito with a pistol from afar and would dodge out of the way of his shots. Since he doesn't have much health, just like his first fight, it doesn't take long to beat him. After we beat him, he shoots Brad and runs away like a little bitch. Unfortunately, Brad has come down with a fever, so now we need to head to the North Plaza to get some medicine.
Medicine, huh?
Once we reach Leisure Park is where the convicts finally decide to show up. I was pretty stressed out when I got to these guys, but surprisingly I managed to get to the steps to the North Plaza, and only then did I finally get shot at. Once we get inside the North Plaza, I get bit by every zombie in my path, but eventually make it to the supermarket. And now we get to the first challenging boss of the run.
This is my store!
Why is this fight hard? Well, it's simply because Steven is always right in our face the whole time, and since movement is so limited, the only thing I can really do is simply shoot him with our shotgun and tank every single hit. This boss is why I grabbed the shotgun at the start of the game, because I already knew going into this that it would suck. I did manage to take him down, but not after getting hit like a billion times. After that nightmare, we grab the medicine and head back to the safe room just in time.
She took off.
Can't really blame her for running from a guy with your looks.
Before I start the next case, I decided to head down to the gun shop in the North Plaza to get more weapons, and I was really hoping that Cletus wouldn't be there, but I was wrong.
In a situation like this, I can't afford to trust nobody!
Are you kidding? That's unfair. She made those. I need to calm down. Everything's fine.
Amanda.
I'm an adult.
There's literally no way to dodge Cletus's shotgun blast, and this is because he shoots multiple shots in a row, so even if I dodge the first shot, I'll just get hit by the next one. So, just like Steven, I need to kill him faster than he can kill me. Thankfully, I had some heals with me, so I could shoot at him and heal whenever I need to. Eventually, I was starting to run out of ammo and heals, so I had to somehow get near one of the gun cases without getting blown away. I did get lucky and actually got shot away into a nearby case, which gave me enough time to grab some pistols and finish him off. Now that we have some shotguns and rifles, I head back to the safe room to start the next case, which involves us fighting Isabella on her bike. I wanted some rifles specifically for this fight, as I could shoot her from afar, and it does pretty good damage at the same time. If she tries to run me over, I just dodge out of the way. Since she doesn't have much health, she was being pretty fast. Once we've taken her down, she tells us to meet her in the empty store in the North Plaza. I wait in a nearby bathroom, and once it's time, I head there. Isabella comes busting in with a zombie right behind her. I kick its head right off, and now I need to bring Isabella back to the safe room. Unfortunately, this is where I failed the challenge, believe it or not. Isabella is incredibly slow, and she takes a while to start running again after getting tired. And I don't think I'd be able to make it back to the safe room by just having her follow me. So, I'm forced to carry her and run back to the safe room. Once we bring her back to the safe room, I wait until the next case and get a really funny glitch. After this cutscene, I wait for some time to start Bomb Collector. I roll to the entrance of the parking lot, praying the convicts don't give me, and get in a nearby car and head to the maintenance tunnels. And this fucking sucked. Oh my god. Why did this suck? Well, one name. Carlito. The reason why he was annoying was when I'm trying to grab the bombs, I kept getting blown up by grenades. Every time I got hit by a grenade, it would blow me away from the trucks holding the bombs. He would also destroy my truck before I could get all the bombs, so I'd have to reload a lot, because there's no way I'm getting out of the maintenance tunnels without a car. But, eventually I figured out a strategy. I would stop by a truck holding a bomb, climb on top of it, and snipe Carlito until he runs away. This allowed me to get all the bombs and get to the entrance of the maintenance tunnels without too much of a headache. After we've gotten the bombs, we head back to the safe room to start the next case. Now, we need to follow Isabella to Carlito's hideout. This really wasn't too bad, at least until Leisure Park, because I got there and I watched Isabella get hit by every zombie in existence, because she doesn't seem to even try to defend herself. I had to reload one time because she almost died at the North Plaza entrance. Eventually, we make it to Carlito's hideout, and now it's time to start the next case. We head back to the safe house and talk to Jesse. We find out that Carlito is in trouble, so we need to help him. Unfortunately, there isn't enough time for me to roll all the way to the butcher shop, so I'm kind of forced to use my skateboard to get to the parking lot. And afterwards, I take a bike and drive the rest of the way there. Once we get there, we have to fight the butcher to save Carlito. I was kind of surprised by how hard this fight was. I died a few times mainly because he's pretty aggressive and is always in your face. His attacks also do quite a bit of damage, so having some heals is a must. Guns also don't do much damage, so the fight takes longer than necessary. Something funny is I actually lost because he managed to kill Carlito by hitting him a few times. I managed to beat him and finish the final boss before overtime mode. After we beat the butcher, Carlito gives us his pendant and heads to the Shadow Realm. With no time left, we drive back to the hideout on our bike and give Isabella her brother's pendant. We head back to the safe room and wait till 12 a.m. for the helicopter to show up. Once it crashes, all we have left is to get through overtime. In overtime, we have to go around the mall and collect various items, all the while sneaking around the special forces. Since we can't really sneak by any of them, we have to kill any that get in our way. The best way to do this is to simply use the assault rifles they drop, and since every single soldier drops one, you'll never worry about ammo. Eventually, with enough time, I collect all the items around the mall, and all that's left is to collect the generator, and I only say generator and not queens as I had a bunch of nectars I used when waiting for the helicopter. Running back to the entrance plaza was brutal because not only did I have a helicopter shooting at me, I also had special forces shooting rockets at me too. The only way to dodge the rockets was to either roll or do a somersault kick, which looked pretty badass to be honest.
Fire! Fire!
Once we reach Isabella, we suppress Frank's zombification, and all we have left to do is to survive through a tunnel full of zombies. This was a pretty brutal part, mainly because I couldn't rely on Isabella to get through this. I had to fight off every zombie on my own. I also didn't have any healing items on me, as I didn't really feel like going back to the supermarket to get some, so I had to be extra careful here. Now, for the first gate where we have to wait for Isabella, I just used a queen. Then, I had to roll through the zombies, until I got to the next checkpoint. I was losing so much health by this point and worried I was going to die, but I figured out a bizarre strategy to get through the zombies for the rest of the tunnel. I would simply dodge into zombies and disembowel them over and over. Once the animation was finished, I would be able to roll again. This worked for most of the tunnel, but I did get grabbed a few more times and end up with 1 health block remaining. Once I got to the end of the tunnel, I opened the gate and killed every zombie and soldier that got in my way. We get in the Jeep, and all that's left is the final boss. We shoot down the tank and fight Brock. This fight is so annoying for mainly one reason, which is that you can't climb the tank if Brock knocks you off. I'm not sure why, but this means that we literally need to avoid getting hit by Brock, or else we'll have to reload, but since Brock is so aggressive, we really don't have a means to do that. So it kind of just came down to luck. After enough reloads, I got lucky enough to beat Brock without getting knocked off the tank.
You'll disappear, and so will the truth. Don't think you can get out of here alive. It's pointless to resist. Nothing will change.
And that is the end of the challenge. This was a very frustrating, fascinating, and interesting run that I never ever want to do ever again. But I at least hope that you found it entertaining. I'm sorry it took so long to get this video out. I had a few things going on, such as work, getting COVID, and also just a general lack of motivation. I didn't really know how I wanted to make this video, but I think it turned out pretty well. Let me know what you think. Consider liking and subscribing, and I will see you in the next video. Later.